So if life were like art, you would do some pieces that nobody ever see, or parts of your life, like up here I added some just brown paint to make it a little bit look more like a tree cutout. Added a little bit of black detailing to make it look kind of like tree texture. It actually, now that I'm thinking about it, would have been cool for me to reverse that so that it looks like I carved it out of the board. Leave this part and this part as like board color, and then do all of the negative space. That may happen now that I'm thinking of it, but we'll see. I took black paint and just made this detail a lot stronger. The marker was cool, but I wanted it to be a stronger detail, and I like that. On the wolf itself, there was probably a couple of places where I needed to complete a line that wasn't actually done, so that happened. And the thing that I planned to focus on today and show you guys is right here, and it's actually me dropping my light. Our life is messy and you drop things. Oh, sorry if that was loud. Okay, you guys should be able to see that. Okay, so it's also like, you know, this is my start of my moon down here. Sometimes we do things without anybody watching because we're afraid that we'll fail, instead of having the courage of being ourselves in front of things. So I started this piece thinking, well, maybe I'm too scared to do this whole thing in front of somebody. The wolf was different because, you know, I've got these different panes to play with, and yeah, I added texture. I'm just getting away with that, you know. But like, where's the real life in that, you know? Like, there are parts that maybe are easier, just, you know, lines like this where you just are like, all I gotta do is follow the lines. There are parts where you've got a general picture and you can kind of figure things out, but you're able to sort of see yourself come out in it. The more that you go, yeah, this is cool, I'm following the lines, I'm filling in the color, but where am I in all of this? And the eyes were just straight up experiments. Like, I remember the first time I tried to paint wolf eyes was on Colton's wolf hat for our walk across the United States, and he was as shocked as I was that they were just beautiful, and all I did was try to match the color of those. I think the exact picture I showed you guys in either the last video or the one before that. I think it was the last video. So the first one, I had music because sometimes, you know, you've got a lot of traffic going on around you. You've got a lot of things going on around you, and you just keep moving forward anyway. The next one, it was just music, and it was my reminder that sometimes we feel safer just concentrating on where we are at, doing what we're doing, we don't necessarily have room for more than just showing up. And this one will be a combination of the two, in the sense that there will be some talking and some not. But I'm taking out the music because in life there are times that are just silent, where you take silent courage, where you take silent love, silent heartbreak, silent faith, silent hope, and you move forward, not trying to prove anything to anybody but yourself, and really focusing on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Sometimes we don't really know what it is we're accomplishing until we get to the end, but let's try it. Let's find out and let's see. So, I have this moon kind of started already. Totally dry from painting it earlier. And I need to add detail right now, because right now it's just a big splotch of moon stuff. And the truth is that I think that's boring. So I'm going to try a little bit of courage and just, just see what's in there, what's in me. I think I'm going to go back to, I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is my little round brush, and I really like it. I like it so much more than I could have imagined. It just feels like the teeniest, tiniest brush, but it's been so great. So we're gonna go back to there and just see what happens. Like, that's one of the big ways that life is like art, is you really don't know what's gonna happen until you get to the other side. And sometimes you've got things going on that you're like, oh my gosh, this totally looks like it's working, and doesn't, mind you. And sometimes you've got things going on that you're like, oh my gosh, this is super not working, and it's like the best thing that ever happened to you. I'm kind of hoping that the latter is what's going on in my life right now. It probably is, because that's usually like, I personally speak to the universe, and I feel like the universe sometimes is like, I think that they're like, honey, you are complaining about all of these things, but you don't even know what's going on in your, like, the world right now. And I don't mean like I'm uninformed, but just like, I don't know what is, being planned or created or done on behalf of me, like, I just don't always know. And that was like a huge thing on the walk. Like, okay, I think I'm gonna go with that. While we were walking across the United States, I never could have known the amazing things that were going on, like, for me. Like, I was super terrified of the fact that I was out there and pregnant and how is this gonna work out? And, am I gonna have what I need? And like, there's so many things that I was super freaked out about. And the thing that I didn't really grasp, and still sometimes struggle with grasping, is the fact that, like, not only was everything working out together for my good, it was working out probably way cooler, way better than I could have imagined. And here I am, this scaredy cat out there. Like I appreciate the people that say that I was brave. It's not that I wasn't, but I was freaking freaked out most of the time. And I was so scared to even tell people I was freaked out, because I was afraid that if I admitted how afraid I really, really was, that people would start trying to talk me out of it. That people would start trying to tell me, like, no, you shouldn't be out here. No, you shouldn't be doing this thing. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I can't face them trying to tell me to go home, or I will. I can't face them trying to, like, question my decision, or I will, like, totally go home. There's no way I'm gonna survive this with people telling me, like, oh my gosh, you're scared? Like, yeah, go home. What are you doing out here? You're pregnant. Like, no, but like, I had so many people, and I love each and every one of you. I had so many people tell me, oh my gosh, if you went home right now, no one would even question it. And it's not that they were wrong, because they weren't. They were totally right. And I appreciated that beautiful, loving, kind support from people. The hard thing was, for me, was like, and this is also true, like, with art or with life, the only person that really knows what you're going through is you. Like, I might be sharing some interpersonal kind of type stuff with you guys on here, but I mean, like, okay, like, for example, right now, I have no idea what I'm doing with this moon. I am playing, I'm trying to remember. I've done a moon, like, once upon a time in one of those paint sip and dip night classes. Actually, I think every time I do one of those classes, I do a moon class, but not moons alone, but just paintings that have moons in them. Big fan of the moon, but I really don't remember. It's been probably like 2.5 years since I've done, I guess it can't be 2.5 years, probably like 2 years. 2 years since I've done, one of these classes. I remember where and who with and most of the stuff going on, but I can't remember what she said about the moon. Like, I have no freaking idea. And with life, like, there's things that we know, there's things that we don't, there's things that we like to pretend that we know, that we don't. There's, like, I don't know, there's so much going on at any given moment in somebody's life. We don't really know. And even in our own lives, like, how are we really supposed to know, like, I didn't know that I was going to walk across America and give birth to a baby boy. Like, oh my gosh, if you ever told me that, I probably would have laughed, and I probably wouldn't have gone. Like, if someone had actually told me, like, hey, like, so, not to freak you out, but just so you know, like, you're gonna go and this is gonna happen, so, good luck out there, I would have been like, you're crazy. Like, thank you for playing, go home and take a nap because you're insane. And yeah, I was out there and gave birth to a baby boy, and those moments that I was talking about before where like the universe is working for and on behalf of us that we just don't even we can't even imagine. Like my son coming into the world, he not only were we only planning on being out there for 4 or 5 months, which isn't even long enough to get pregnant and have a baby, but we, I'm a huge advocate for natural medicine. I'm a huge advocate for healing from home. That's something that I'd love to figure out how to teach one day. I'm a huge advocate for being able to handle your own health and stuff. And, while I was already being bold and brave and crazy and, doing things that were totally bizarro and unexpected, as it was, I was out there going sweet, I'm just gonna freaking have this baby in the boonies. I didn't talk with people about that much, but that was kind of my plan, was whatever, we'll have a birthing kit, we'll figure it out, we'll prove to people that having a baby, hence that word, please remember that word, prove to people that having a baby can be this way, this is how it was originally nature intended, and blah 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 blah, right? I had all these thoughts and stories and ideas of whatever, right? And now that I've had my son, having a baby is pretty damn scary, especially because of the media that we have on this planet right now. There is so many movies that I've seen that I'm oh my gosh, what if something happens? What if? And it was really, really scary, especially in the middle of it, being in lots of pain, because that happens. But also being no, I've got this, and I don't have medical insurance, and I don't have money because I've been walking across the United States, and whose idea was this? And I never wanted to scream at Colton, like you see in the movies. I don't know if this stuff happens in real life, but you did this to me. I didn't want to do that because I felt really strongly that, this was a decision that we had not made together, because I just don't, I can't claim that I was crazy enough to be it's a good idea for me to get pregnant out here and have a baby on the walk. I'm not going to say that because that's not true. But we definitely understood biology. And in that respect, we definitely were whatever, we know what's going on. We're fine. We're totally fine. And we totally got pregnant. I encourage everybody that's not ready for babies to be super freaking smart, because a lot of us make decisions that aren't necessarily unsmart, but we're on the fence about something, or we're even, maybe we're just being straight up stupid. Maybe we can be stupid sometimes. That's okay. I'm sure there's times I've been stupid. I can't say stupid now because I love my son, because I feel well, yeah, I would never trade him for anything, and I know that any of you that have kids know that. And those of you who don't maybe can, sympathize with that. I, couldn't have imagined what it was like to be a parent until being one. And I wouldn't trade it. But damn, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was in for, what it was going to be like, what it was going to be about. I couldn't have known. I just, there's no way. which with art, you don't really know what you're into until you're in the middle of it going, oh my gosh, what am I into? What's going on with my moon? What's happening, with these things in my life? What do I do here? How do I handle? Who do I talk to? What do I say? Sometimes you talk to a friend, sometimes you talk to a therapist, sometimes you talk to a tree, sometimes you talk to yourself, sometimes you talk to a camera while you're painting in the middle of the night, which actually is kind of what I'm doing. It's probably still before 5. The moon looks like okay. I'm not totally sold on my moon. But I think the thing that I've got to remind myself is you guys don't really care how good I paint. And I only care because this is something I'm hoping will last a long, long, long time for my fiancé. And I guess that's kind of what in a way, this board is kind of how I hope our relationship will be. I hope that we'll take time to talk, we'll take time to be quiet, we'll take time to hear what's going on, we'll take time to listen, we'll take time to figure it all out. We'll feel safe enough to we won't feel judged, we won't feel left alone. We won't feel like we'll have to handle things alone. We'll be able to handle the things alone that we have to. That we will have the time to get a feel for things. In art, not always, but sometimes we have a chance to really get a sense for something rather than just be in it. I think we're able, I guess what I mean is we have the time to, sometimes we'll have the time to slow down and really get to play with what we're doing, understand it, figure it out, and make progress. And I'm grateful that I have that right now with this. That's not always true. One of the bad habits I've been creating in my life is not relaxing. And it's not even I'm just so stressed out I can't relax. It's I just straight up don't even feel like I know how to anymore. I did I had an amazing journey with my fiancé, and now I'm like, how do I even life after all of that? And I don't really know, but I think the important part is whether or not I'm willing to figure it out. So we walked for suicide prevention because I really have struggled with suicide, and I wish, that I could just be like, oh my gosh, this doesn't exist in my life anymore. I'm totally over it. I'm still kind of identifying like where that space comes from. Because it still shows up for me. My poor fiance, it still shows up like for me, and he is a sweetheart and a rock and been a supportive like player in me like being safe and figuring things out. And I think if I could share anything with anybody, it's for those of you who have lost people. There's nothing you could do to change that. Those people were going no matter what their life looked like. Because I've seen my life look so many ways. And I'm so very sorry for that. There's just, I say that with so much compassion and respect and experience. I've had far too many attempts now, or times where I just felt like I was super done and ready to not be on this planet anymore. It's something that's going on inside me, and the only one who can do anything about it is me. There's no amount of medication or therapy or support or insistence that I think would make a difference. And it's not to say that those things can't help and can't be tools for that process. But I really encourage people to recognize that there is a reason people choose that. And it doesn't have to do with their circumstance. They might tell you, oh, it's because so-and-so was mean to me. It was because this and that happened in my life and I couldn't handle it. And those might have been like contributing factors to them finally hitting a breaking point. But it is a disconnect, I think. A disconnect from the body, a disconnect from the self. My therapist and I have been chatting about the fact that I have some attachment disorders, or an attachment disorder, or whatever. I don't know what they are, but which I'm like, oh, okay, so like me struggling to really feel like a mom could have something to do with this, could have something to do with some of the trauma I experienced as a young kid. And I've got some of those things in my life, and I can look at them and be like, yeah, this is like contributing to all of this. But I don't know that everybody does. Like, one of the things that we're doing in science right now is looking into, I believe it's called epigenetics. And as far as I understand, it's the science of like what we take on from our environment, or not our environment, excuse me. Well, okay, let me explain this. So it's what we take on, or what one of our ancestors takes on from one of their environmental stressors. Like, for example, 200 years ago, this baby deer watches his brother get ripped to shreds by a mountain lion and knows mountain lions are no dice. You don't mess with them. You don't mess with mountain lions, right? And that deer's descendants that are still here may actually still be here because of their understanding of, oh my gosh, you don't mess with mountain lions, that actually started with their ancestor. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, well, that's freaking nature, like predator versus prey, or whatever. Yeah, but how was that established? You know what I mean? Like, when did the whole predator prey thing start? And like, how was it passed on? It was passed on through epigenetics, where this, this animal, this thing, understood this is how this planet operates. And I think it's wickedly profound. Like, all of us have things like that we've gotten from ancestors, that we've gotten from, wherever, that say, hey, this is how this planet operates. And the thing is some of those things are not accurate. Like, some of those things are 200 years old, and aren't true anymore. And like, who's gonna tell us that? Who's gonna be like, hey, homie, like, I know that, this kind of like stress in your life tells you it's not safe to be on this planet anymore. You can't handle it. But that's not true. Like, I'm sorry that, you got that from an ancestor or whatever. And it's not to say that we got everything from our ancestors, but that's a factor. We're playing with it. A lot of people don't even realize. Which is like both incredible and super scary. Like, what are we supposed to do? We don't even know what's there. We don't even know what's been given to us. Because, I don't know that there's a great way for us to be like, oh, this came from Aunt Sally. Oh, this came from great grandma Joe. Like, there's not a thing. So it's really interesting, really tricky. Very different stuff than I could have imagined in my life. So I have to remind myself when I'm struggling, there could be so much more to that struggle than just me being weak, or me not having faith, or whatever. Though I will say, if there's something you can have faith in, whether it's a system that you believe will work, or whether it's some kind of group or organization or higher power or friend or idea. You know, some of us gain a lot of peace from just ideas about how things can work, or how they do. And I think, you know, for me, like having a baby on the walk, I was like, no, my body is designed to do this. It knows what's going on. It can handle it. There's no reason why I need to let my emotions take over. And I say this with the utmost respect and understanding for anybody that's had a baby or is about to have a baby and has a completely different feel / experience with it. Like, please don't take this as a catch-all, as a I know it all, because I definitely do not. And there are experiences where, you know, things happen or things change, or, you know, epigenetics. There's something going on inside of you that you don't even know about until it comes out. And for me, I didn't take into account the epigenetics, but I wanted to how do I say this? I wanted to have or give myself responsibility for my experience. I think with the struggles that I've had with depression and anxiety and borderline personality disorder and being suicidal and whatnot, I think the struggles that I've had from that, I've wanted to like push responsibility for my life and what's going on away, because it's either felt too big or too overwhelming, or like, well, why would I want to hurt myself? Why would I like be there? You know, what happened to me that caused that? You know, and I started, you know, spiraling or whatever. But on the walk and in this particular thing, I just felt like my experience, and maybe that was epigenetics, like I just felt like my experience having a baby was not only mine, but it was my responsibility. And because of that, I was like totally in a different beautiful headspace, giving birth. Colton, my fiance, has said that I was pretty kind. He said that there's moments where I was definitely stressed, but he could like feel a lot of like me being like, nope, this is not him, this is not him, this is not about him, this is just pain in my body, it's okay. And man, there was a lot of pain. Any of you ladies out there know that, but I actually kind of like that. That's really cool. It's really interesting. I like to say side effect of being human. Sometimes I feel like I need to talk. I actually like that. I might just stop myself right there. It's a beautiful moon. How's that look? I don't know, but that doesn't matter. I'm gonna let that be for a minute and see where I land on it in a minute. there's my Why do I Why do we What does mean? I don't really know. I think that's an art/life thing too. Is like, I mentioned this earlier, you really don't know how things are going to turn out. You have no reason to know, and no way of knowing. There's no way anybody can really know how something is going to work out. I think we've got hopes and aspirations. I'm going to put this one little skinny brush that I've got here, and I'm going to put it, here's my testing again. I'm going to try this flat brush here, this angle brush, excuse me. It is a angular brush. And I'm going to start in on, I don't know if you can see these trees right here and right here. But I'm just going to play and paint and see and hope that any of these things that I'm doing will work out. You know, I've got this vision for how this board will be, what it will entail, and I honestly, I have no way of knowing until it's done whether it will work or whether it will be stupid or whether I should have done something different or whether it's really beautiful and I should accept what it is and where it is and how it got there. I kind of don't want the design of the board to go up the side. So maybe I can just wipe it and keep cleaning it like that. It's crazy to work with something so stark like the black after working with that blue and that white. It's very, very different. I think I want to do that. Oh, courage. I am trying to remember, what I've learned from paint classes or from different things, and it's like a little bit scary. I'm kind of glad that I've got this basic outline figured out. For the everything. That was a good move. If you can outline your life, do it. If you can outline your art, do it. I'm telling you, it's super, super helpful right now to have all of this outlined. And I'm probably, so I can stop thinking about the edge, I'm probably just going to finish this edge so that I don't have to think about the edge anymore and I can just focus on the trees. Okay. Let's take my little thingamabob and go down the side here. Sweet. If there's a little bit, there's a little bit. But going the right direction. There's my again. What do we think is? It's like the filler of I feel I need to say something, but I'm not entirely sure what it is I need or am supposed to say. Maybe it's a supposed to say. I just remembered Bob Ross and his little happy trees. It's gonna paint me some little happy trees here in the woods and gonna be so nice. My little happy trees. Oh. I don't really know, like, technically how to handle these brushes or what they're for. And so it's interesting to be, like, attempting to just make them what I want them to be. It's certainly coming along. I like the no texture. I mean, there's lots of texture because of, like, I just mean, what do I mean? I mean the fact that I want to wash this out. I'm not doing like highlight colors or things with just this particular spot. It was really interesting to try to cover like the mass of the board with the wolf, and then now to be like not only doing like these little details, but like the moon took me, I feel like, so long. I was just playing with the textures and the colors and stuff on the moon. I think it's because I was going for more of a realistic look, which automatically made me be like, oh my gosh, can I handle this? Trying to make my outline on my lady pretty good so that it's easy to take care of in a second. There we go. Perfect. Yay, I love these. It's kind of funny. I think I'm bunching up my cloth I'm sitting on. I'm super loving my happy trees. These are great. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It the moon. See the moon. I think the moon looks cool. I'm down for the moon. May or may not change it later. But like these trees, those are some happy little trees right there. Definitely digging the little trees. Oh, it's so funny. Let's see. Let's outline my girl. So it's kind of an interesting thing that I'm doing this art right now. I think because I was adopted and never had an opportunity, I don't think. Granted, he may not have wanted to, which is okay. I'm like coming to terms with that too. Never had an opportunity to meet my bio dad, and I've been told, I've not actually been able to find his artwork yet, but I've been told that he was a really, really talented painter. It'd be really cool to see what our styles are like. I used to not think I was naturally very artistic. And for some reason, since I found out I was the daughter of a painter, I felt far more creative, far more capable of being creative, even. Just like, oh, if he can do it, that's my dad. This is my realm. Like, maybe I should be doing this. And I don't really believe in shoulds, but just that maybe it's more available to me than I thought. And honestly, the more I let myself stop worrying about how things could turn out or how they might be, the more I jump in face first with art or life and just say, you know what? I'm going to see how this goes. I'm going to see where this goes. I'm going to trust that whatever happens is right. I just am enchanted by the results usually, like the walk. That was a really, really big, like, let's see how this goes moment. And I'm really grateful that I did. It changed me. It made me, they say that courage is not the absence of fear. But then you meet those courageous people that are unafraid of like anything. And if I'm being honest with you, I feel like those people are created. Like, I feel like I, became one of them. And that was through, not that everyone's gonna walk across America, but, mine came through the walk. Mine came through one huge act of just sheer, let's try this. Let's see what happens. Let's test it out. Let's see what happens if I try to walk across America. And it's not going to be what you expect. And odds are, if you let it actually play out all the way to the end, it'll be better than you could have imagined. I think I need to spend more time in the middle of the night painting. I'm naturally an introvert, which I no longer feel like anybody believes. Because of our walk across the country, I spent so much time like talking with strangers and whatever. What they don't know is how crazy stressful that was for me. And how I did it anyway, because I just didn't know what else to do. I was just in it. I was just lifing. I was just trying. I'm actually gonna take this one. this is working. Yeah. So introvert. I'm an introvert, and I've been struggling with my emotions in a really, really big way. And, I said that I don't know how to relax. I'm kind of a funny person. I feel like some of the best relaxing I do is probably stuff like this. It's art. It's creating something. I really love puzzles. I always, I just laughed. I always have thought that was kind of funny. I hope, okay, whew. Acrylic dries pretty fast, I'm noticing. Thank heavens. This is acrylic, right? Yes, this is satin acrylic paint. Thank heavens for that, because it is drying fast enough that I'm not destroying this other side. If I thought about it, I probably would have gone this way because I'm a righty. Lessons learned in the School of Life and Art. Should pay attention. Maybe if I tried something like oils, I would maybe draw a better boundary for myself. I don't know that acrylic is forgiving like oil is, but I can't smudge it like you probably can with oil. So in that sense, it's quite forgiving, which is good. I think that would be something I would tell somebody that was trying to figure out life. Maybe try some things. Life might be a little bit more forgiving than you anticipate. There's definitely like circumstances that arise that feel unforgiving. And I think that's the thing that scares people, is they it's not really forgiving because this happened or this showed up, or, how dare this. But I really I can't count the number of times so far that I've said, if I could tell you anything, I'd tell you this or whatever, but you really don't know what it's setting you up for. What if that was the thing you put your faith in? Was the idea that everything genuinely, truly was working together for your good? What if that was real? Well, what if that was the most real thing in your entire world, that you just knew, I know all of these things are working together for and on behalf of me. no matter how crazy it looks, no matter how bad, no matter how scary, what if that was the thing? What if that was the truth? You know? What if you told yourself that that really crazy circumstance was setting you up to win the lotto, or it was making it possible for you to meet your best friend that you don't even know you don't have? What if it's setting you up for meeting your soulmate? Sheesh. Oh my gosh, I went through so many stupid things before I met my fiancé. And I know that it's easier for me to say this now that I have him, but sheesh, I like, you guys know that show, How I Met Your Mother? If you do, if you remember it, that wasn't my life. Like, I had all of these crazy stories of things that happened and dates that went awry and ways that I met these guys and guys that I dated and it didn't work out and all of these things. I used to be a lash extension artist, and the girl who I would trade with, she would always just laugh so hard at these crazy stories that I had. And I didn't understand why, I think, until I got Colton, that I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff was nuts. I was nuts. Not even just the stuff was nuts. I always thought it was the guys, right? No, I would make the craziest decisions thinking that I was doing it in the name of love, or, you know, like, I was trying to do it because I cared. No, a lot of that was bullshit. A lot of it was I was so desperate to have good companionship that I would do some crazy shit sometimes. Oh my gosh, I love these happy trees. These are so cool. I'm feeling good about these. Excuse me. I'm gonna pause for a second. My back really hurts. That is a really powerful thing to do, by the by. It's just stop. Breathe. Honor where you are. Honor what you've created. And be impressed with yourself a little bit. Geez, I don't think we're impressed with ourselves enough. Like, not that I think we should run around thinking we're the shit, but what if we are? You know, like, what if we stopped and saw how cool we were every once in a while? Just gonna take a little bit more of this blue out. Now that I've had a chance to work on something else, I want to kind of cover up a little teensy bit more of this blue with just a little bit of sploshing. So I don't know if I mentioned or said, my bio dad, he is deceased. So I never got the opportunity, and I never will. And even something like that, which is maybe tragic to a lot of people, I just wonder, like, how is it maybe in my highest and best good? Because, you know, with him gone, people are telling me a lot of the best stories they feel like they have of him. You know, not the worst. It's really easy to crap on somebody when they're still here. Once they're gone, you're like, you know, they're not here to defend themselves anymore, and I think we get a little bit more gentle. That is way cool. Oh, follow your heart. I'm just following. This is exactly what I did with the top. I had an idea for what I was doing, but I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing with it and trying to, I guess that's a big thing. Identify what you want it to be like or what's not working. I'm not a huge fan of usually telling people to identify what's not working because I feel like that's easy. It's so much easier to complain about it could be, it should be, it might as well have been, why didn't it, blah, 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 right? I think it's a lot harder to be like, well, you know, I don't think this moon is working because I think that I want it to be whiter. I want there to be more lightness to it, more lit up. However, sometimes by identifying not in a judgmental way, I went back, by the way, to the round brush, which you may or may not have been able to see. Or if I can, I don't know, I'm just kind of right there maybe. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, so I'm not a huge encourager of that unless you're going to take it and be like, you know, this isn't working. And by identifying it, you can be like I did with the moon, where I was like, you know, I don't love all this blue. I think there's too much blue. But then I went and said, well, what can I do about it? So that's what I was going to say is like, in art and in life, my new catchphrase for today, what can we do? What will we do? What, not should, I don't like the word should. But what could we do by identifying what isn't working? Hey, I really don't like this. What can I do to change it? I didn't express this, but I noticed when I took my angled brush at the beginning and would put it in my paint that there was too much paint. So I was identifying what wasn't working. It was too heavy to give me those wispy ends of the trees that you would see, which actually I'll show you later. If I showed you the picture that I based this off of, it didn't have wispy ends, but I like the wispy ends. I feel like it's a lot of character and I feel like it's my style, so I chose to do that. But when I was actually brushing, I was like, oh man, it's really heavy. This paint is really heavy when I do this. And so I chose to recognize that I didn't like that it was heavy and asked myself what I could do about it. And I thought, you know, maybe if when I dip, either dip it really, really lightly or dip just almost don't even touch the paint. I dip it so lightly, or I dip it and I try to get most of the paint off, down here in these fully black areas. Then whatever my remainder of my paint could come up here and be used in the trees, tree tips, tree tops, and also tree tips. Okay, let's see. So I want to mix a little bit of brown into my black. I still have one popsicle stick. This is I wish I knew more about these kinds of things. I really don't. This is just very much experimenting. I don't know if that actually did anything to the black. Maybe I need more. That's hilarious. There we go. Okay. Mix it. Yeah, I like that. Okay, it's giving me like a weird brownish grayish thing. I think I want to add just a little bit more brown. Just to lighten it just a smidge. It'll give me a really different concept. So I was watching a video the other day. I was trying to figure out what other things I wanted to add on this board to help it be complete in my heart, you know, to like when I finish I'll be like, cool, I did it, I got it, perfect. I was trying to figure that out, so I think I'm gonna try that. So what I ended up doing, what I ended up watching actually helped me to understand my brushes a little bit more. Oh no, I did not get one of those brushes. Oh, how funny. I totally thought I did. I didn't. I did not. I don't know if I want to try this one. I might go back. I might just, well, nope, I don't want to. Well, let's see what happens. Let's do a little tester right here. One of those, like, okay, I don't like how heavy that is. I just tried my big round brush with my paint. The thing I'm trying to do is a very like textured ground piece. And that brush is not going to do it for me. What do I want to do? That's so funny. I don't even know now. These are all like very like, if you look, so this is the pack of brushes that I got to give myself a starting place. If you see, all of these are really like clear lines. They're not really like sparse. So I'm just gonna have to experiment and hope that this works out. Okay. What am I doing here? I'm doing this. I don't know that I don't know if I have the patience for this. Let's see, what can I do here? What can I do that I'm okay with? I don't want it to just be dark. I want it to have texture. I might need to go back to the little tiny round brush. I don't even know what you guys can see or not. And okay. Here I go again doing that side first, but I'm just gonna trust it. So you guys may or may not know this yet, but the part on this board that I'm most concerned about is right here. It is a lady. It is a Little Red Riding Hood kind of lady, which is who my character was on the walk, which is why she's being incorporated into the board. And we hope it works out. This is cool. I'm liking this texture going on. I don't have an edge for her cloak down here because I didn't know I would need to. No, that's not true because I just haven't made it that far yet. Trying to like do this behind her without going over my lines so I don't lose them. I definitely look forward to the days where I feel confident doing things freehand. Because then I can do my different layers of like, here's my background layer, here's my next layer, here's this. Because I don't always really know like how this stuff is going to work out. Okay, I want to do an experiment where I take a wet brush in my acrylics and I play with it. I love that. Okay, I now know how I'm going to complete that side once it is dry. So, I took my brush while it was wet and I dipped it in my paint and I kind of like played with it and it does this beautiful, almost watercolor thing. And that's exactly what I need to fill in the rest of this space. So, while that's in process of drying to be ready for something like that, which hopefully I won't ruin it that way, we'll find out. Actually, if I did, then I could always go back over it like I am right now after the watercolor part has dried. So I think this is kind of a win-win. I think that's the life thing that I'm like trying to explain is so often we like either think things need to be a certain way or are just so scared that we've ruined them that we don't even give ourselves space to be like, there might be a way that this works out. You know, this might actually be okay. The world, like I said, like I feel like one of the most powerful beliefs a person can have is that all things are working together for your good. All things are working together for your highest and best good. We have been engaged. My fiance and I have been engaged for, oh my gosh, since March of 2019.